In the near future, the crime rate reaches unthinkable levels in South Africa, so the government buys a squad of robot cops known as scouts. These robots are built by the Tetravel company, who promises the scouts have a bulletproof guard key system created by Dion. This means only the company can update their software and no hacker in the world can get break into them. Tetravel also manufactures a bigger remote-controlled robot called Moose, which was designed by veteran Vincent. He's against artificial intelligence and believes robots are safer when a human is in control. One day at the factory, Scout 22 is brought in for repairs. While working, the engineer points out this robot always gets damaged whenever it's sent out. Once he finishes repairing the broken part, he turns the robot on and Scout 22 arms itself before going back to work. Meanwhile, a group of thieves led by Ninja is speeding their way out of the city because the scouts are looking for them. After hitting a car, they manage to escape and meet with gang leader Hippo. He makes his men take the team's weapons and van while furiously scolding them for failing their latest job. Hippo wants them to compensate him by getting him $20 million in 7 days or he'll kill them. He puts his gun in Ninja's mouth to make him swear he'll get the money. Then he shoots one of thieves to prove he's serious. At that moment, some droids find them and send the location to the scouts, who soon arrive in a helicopter. Hippo and his gang open fire and activate impressive explosives while Ninja's team get in the van, but it's missing the keys. The scouts reach the ground and start firing back, hurting many gang members. 2 human officers also join the gunfight and use Scout 22 as a shield to move ahead. More and more gang members are killed, and Ninja searches their bodies for the van keys. The man that has them tries to escape in a car, only for a scout to shoot the vehicle down. Ninja shoots at the helicopter and hits the engine, forcing it to fly away. Then he checks the crash car to finally get the keys for the van. At the same time, the cops try bursting into an old building, and Hippo receives them by shooting a rocket launcher, which severely damages Scout 22. Then Hippo escapes through the window while Ninja and his friends do the same in the van. Unfortunately, America gets hurt by a bullet on their way out. Since the gang is defeated, the raid is presented on the news as another victory for the scouts, and the government orders 100 more. Vincent complains to CEO Michelle because she keeps cutting his funding, but she has no interest in Moose. Dion is called to the repair shop, where an engineer is working on Scout 22. The attack caused the battery to fuse with its chest piece, which means it can't be fixed. Dion orders the engineer to recycle any useful parts and get rid of the rest. Back to the thieves, they arrive in the abandoned building they use as a hideout. While Yolandi takes care of America's wound, Ninja gets a call from Hippo, reminding him of the time limit to get the money. Their team discusses how to proceed without getting in trouble, and Yolandi theorizes that someone from Tetravel must have a special switch to turn off the scouts, so they need to find that person first. A quick internet search tells them who created the scouts. Meanwhile, Dion spends his time working on his newest project while his robots serve him and take care of the house. After several hours of coding, he finally manages to create a program that will give the scouts artificial consciousness. Desperate to test it, Dion runs to Michelle's office and tells her about his new invention, explaining this could make robots smarter than humans and capable of writing music or poetry. Michelle isn't interested because they're in the business of weapons and defense, so she denies his request for testing. A very frustrated Dion decides to get Scout 22 and a bunch of tools like the guard key, which opens the programming for updates. He hides it all in his van and leaves company without getting checked on by the guards since he is rank. Dion barely drives for a mile or two before Ninja's team blocks the road. They break the van's windows and force Dion to come out before knocking him out. Moments later at the thieves' hideout, they wake Dion up with some water. Ninja punches him to force him to cooperate, so Dion tries to explain the scouts are always on and their software is the only safety measure. Since Ninja doesn't believe him, he threatens him with his gun only to be interrupted by America, who has found Scout 22 in the van. After taking a look, Ninja tells Dion that if he wants to live, he must program Scout 22 to work for him. Dion warns them about the new untested software, and the team agrees to try anyway. Afterward, Dion begins working on fixing Scout 22's broken parts. The battery is damaged too, which means Scout 22 only has 5 days of power left. Then Dion uses the guard key to override the old software and installs the new one. Scout 22 wakes up with the personality of a toddler and runs to hide from the humans. Ninja gets angry and his complaints make Scout 22 even more scared, so the others send him to the kitchen. They try again with gentle words, and Scout 22 finally comes out to touch Yolandi's hand. It's also curious about Dion's watch, and when he gives it to it, the robot says watch is its first word. Next, Dion gives it a chicken toy to keep it distracted, and Scout 22 learns everyone's names. Yolandi thinks the robot looks like a happy Chappie and decides Chappie will be his name. At that moment, Ninja returns and gets angry because he sees they're teaching the robot to be a child. He kicks Dion out and threatens to shoot him, but Dion convinces him he's needed to train Chappie. He's allowed to leave after promising he'll be back tomorrow. At Tetravel, Vincent discovers that the guard key is missing. He checks the system and learns that the key is now installed in Scout 22. In the morning, Vincent finds Dion at his desk, looking for internet sites about baby's learning process. After noticing Dion's face wounds, Vincent asks to borrow the guard key, which Dion accidentally left inside Chappie. He says protocol doesn't allow him to share the key, and suddenly a furious Vincent pushes Dion on the table, threatening to shoot him if he doesn't get the key. When Dion says no, Vincent quickly pulls back and pretends he had been joking. After work, Vincent notices Dion taking a different direction from usual and follows him. At the hideout, Chappie looks around and touches many different things to learn more. Ninja finds him watching the news and reminds him he should be working for his team, so he teaches Chappie how to use a gun. The robot is very scared and misses his shot, making Ninja more frustrated. Before he can get aggressive, Yolanda interrupts him and reminds him they need to teach Chappie the basics first. She starts showing him random objects and teaching him the words. Soon Chappie surprises her by copying full sentences. He calls America by his name, but Yolanda becomes Mommy. America starts teaching Chappie too, so the robot begins repeating curse words and threats to sound more gangster. When Dion arrives, he's very disappointed to hear Chappie talk and act like a criminal, so he makes him promise he won't do anything illegal. Then he comes up with different activities to stimulate Chappie's mind, like reading a book and painting. This is seen by Vincent, who realizes where the key is and leaves while thinking of a plan. Chappie practices his painting and makes a perfect drawing of a car. The sweet moment is interrupted by Ninja, who pushes Dion to the ground and starts kicking him for making Chappie a softie. He even takes out his gun, but Yolanda pushes him to stop him from killing Dion, who escapes in his van. Yolanda tries to explain to Ninja that Chappie is like a kid, but their argument is interrupted when America gets a call telling him about a potential job. Desperate to speed up Chappie's training, Ninja and America take him to another gang's base and abandon him there. Thinking he's a regular scout, the gang immediately starts attacking him by throwing things, hitting him with pipes, and even setting him on fire. However, Chappie refuses to defend himself because of his promise. As soon as he has an opening, Chappie runs away. Moments later, Chappie is still trying to make his way back to the base. He takes a break by sitting on a rock and a stray dog approaches him, so Chappie gets to pet it. Suddenly, he's surrounded by Vincent and his men, who have tracked him down, thanks to the company's tracking system. Vincent hits him with an electronic device, and Chappie instantly shuts down. He wakes up later in Vincent's truck and tries to shake the men off him, so Vincent responds by cutting off his arm. Then Vincent opens the panel on Chappie's head and removes the key while saying he isn't a real person. He's just a bunch of wires. Since he doesn't need him anymore, Vincent gets ready to cut Chappie's head off too. This time, Chappie fights with more strength and manages to push the men off, leaving the way open for him to jump off the truck. The men open fire and cause even more damage to Chappie's body, who never stops running. Vincent decides to let him go since he's useless now. Eventually, Chappie returns to the base, and Yolandi immediately starts cleaning him up while yelling at Ninja, blaming him for the robot's current state. America fixes Chappie with some old parts, giving him a new arm. That night, Yolandi reads Chappie the book about the black sheep, teaching him that he has a soul inside that matters more than mechanical parts that can be changed every day. The next day, Dion buys a gun. Meanwhile, Chappie plays with a doll, pretending it's Yolandi calling him special. At that moment, Ninja finds him and apologizes while calling himself daddy, but he also makes him drop the doll. He proceeds to teach Chappie how to walk like a gangster and starts getting angry again when Chappie refuses to shoot a gun. America cuts in and teaches Chappie how to use a knife, saying it simply makes people go to sleep. Since Chappie falls for the lie, the guys also teach him how to throw shurikens and use nunchucks. Then they give Chappie a paint job and some jewelry to fit the gangster aesthetic. Sometime later, Ninja wants to steal a car, so he tells Chappie that a naughty man stole from them first, and they're just taking it back. Chappie approaches the man and starts destroying the car to the point he rips off the door while scolding the guy for being a thief. Then he drags the man out of the car and throws him across the street. Ninja and America call him back to the van and scold him for destroying the vehicle. They also give him a gun, pointing out he doesn't need to shoot it. For the next few hours, Chappie steals a bunch of cars for Ninja. Drivers think he's a scout and find him intimidating, so it's easy for Chappie to scare them off and take their vehicles. Afterward, Chappie is taken to an abandoned building where a bunch of gangsters are watching dogfights. When they see Chappie, they think he's a scout and run away, so Ninja makes him wait at the entrance. With the money they made from selling the stolen cars, Ninja and America buy a bunch of weapons and video game consoles. While waiting, Chappie is sad to find a dead dog and another one in a cage. Ninja comes back and points out these dogs represent life. You either die or fight to survive. Chappie thinks he's immortal because he's a robot, but Ninja points out his battery will die soon. To get him a new one, they need to pull off a big heist to get the money, and Chappie agrees to help because he doesn't want to die. In the evening, they return to the base and find Dion, who is disappointed to see that Chappie has become a full gangster. However, Chappie doesn't respect the opinion anymore because his maker gave him a short life, which he thinks is cruel. At the Tetraval Labs, Vincent uses the key to upload a firmware called Genesis into the Scout system. This instantly disables all the robots in the country, causing car accidents and criminals to escape. Chappie also collapses, and while Dion tries to check on him, Ninja appears and blames him for the malfunction. He tries to start a fight, only for Dion to take out his gun to keep him at bay. Now he can drag Chappie into his van to take him back to the company. Meanwhile, Hippo is informed that all scouts are down, so he announces the city belongs to him. Soon criminals are taking over the streets, causing chaos and destruction everywhere without nothing to stop them. The last standing scout collapses in front of them, and the criminals light it on fire. At the police office, the human cops begin arming themselves with little experience. At the lab, Vincent follows the incidents on the news, pleased to see his plan is a success. He deletes Genesis to get rid of the evidence, but the process will take a while. At that moment, Dion arrives with a deactivated Chappie, so Vincent has to hide. Dion connects Chappie to a computer and finds a warning about malicious code, but he only quarantines Genesis for now to concentrate on his robot. On the other computer, the deletion process has failed. After a few seconds, Chappie wakes up with his personality intact. Dion is eager to leave, but on their way out, they see Vincent's robot, and Chappie gets curious. So Dion explains that Moose is controlled by a human wearing a helmet that reads their thoughts. Chappie also sees an unfinished scout model and wants it to be his new body, but Dion says he can't transfer Chappie because he's more than just data, he has a consciousness. All this is overheard by Vincent, furious that his maker still makes things hard for him. Chappie says he hates Dion and steals Moose's helmet before running away alone. As cops arrive to surround the company building, Vincent rushes to turn off his computer before leaving, forgetting to take the key. Soon Dion meets with Michelle, who orders him to solve this immediately if he doesn't want following his plan. Vincent tries convincing Michelle that this is the perfect moment to use Moose, but she isn't interested. At the gang's base, Chappie tests the helmet on Yolandi and works perfectly fine with their small computer. Then he tries to upload his own consciousness, but the first few tries fail. After connecting the gang's computer to all the video game consoles for more power, the helmet picks up Chappie's essence and puts it on the screen. Now Chappie only needs the money for a new body, so he and the gang get ready for the heist. They block an armored car in the middle of the highway, and Chappie kills a few guards with his knife, thinking he's putting them to sleep. After they blow up the car door, Chappie throws out the other guards and proceeds to steal the money while reporters record everything from helicopter. He notices one of the guards is in pain instead of sleeping, but before he can understand, the gang brings him into the van so they can leave. At the Tetravel office, Dion searches the system and discovers that Genesis came from Vincent's computer. He starts making a scene, but he's interrupted by the news showing Chappie stealing money and killing people. After a frustrated Dion leaves, Vincent runs to tell Michelle that Dion uploaded Genesis and that he has a sentient robot, which he proves by showing her the news. Michelle then authorizes the use of Moose. Vincent connects his brain to his creation and sends it after Chappie at the same time Hippo sees the news, announcing he wants that robot too. Back to the gang. Chappie is happy about the money for his new body, but Ninja tells him there won't be one and that he lied to get the money. A very angry Chappie grabs him by the neck and throws him on the ground when they make it to the base. Dion also arrives and warns them about an incoming threat while showing Chappie a special powerful weapon that can damage robots. Soon Hippo and his men show up as well, asking for the money and the robot, so the gang answers by opening fire. A gunfight ensues, but it only lasts a few seconds before Moose arrives. Vincent makes it step on America to kill him, then it rips his body in two just for fun. Ninja starts shooting at Moose, but bullets do nothing, so he runs to hide before Moose activates its flamethrower. Hippo and his men also open fire at Moose, so Vincent makes it fly up and throws a few cluster bombs, which kill the entire gang except for Hippo because he hides in a pipe. Ninja is trying to get his money back, so Yolandi has to drag him into hiding. Then Moose tries going after Dion, only for Chappie to jump between them with a weapon Dion gave him. After sticking an explosive to Moose's body, Chappie opens fire and manages to destroy one of Moose's arms. But before he can do more, Moose shoots him down and he loses the detonator. Hippo comes out of hiding, so both he and Ninja fire at Moose together while Chappie breaks the wall to run inside with Yolandi. The men manage to break Moose's camera, so Vincent makes it fly away from the fire while he tries to fix it. Dion runs to his van to escape and is blocked by Hippo. Ninja tries to help, however Hippo still manages to shoot Dion down. A furious Ninja retaliates by smashing Hippo's head with a shovel while Chappie hides Dion in the van. At that moment, Vincent fixes the camera, so Moose starts chasing after them with open fire. Chappie runs to get his helmet, but a stray bullet destroys it. So now he wants to go to the factory to get another helmet to save Dion. Ninja tells him to leave with Yolandi in the van while he distracts Moose. As soon as the van is out of the building, Ninja falls to his knees and asks for the end. When Moose is about to kill him, Yolandi jumps out of the van with a special weapon and shoots Moose. Vincent immediately makes it turn and shoot Yolandi dead before Chappie can reach her. As he grieves for his mother, Chappie finds the detonator and activates it to finally blow Moose up. Afterward, Chappie drives to Tetravel with Dion and finds Vincent, who tries to run away. Chappie slows him down by throwing a knife at his leg, but Vincent still makes it to the main office. Employees panic while Vincent keeps on firing at Chappie to no avail. Chappie responds by throwing Vincent through a window and a wall. Then he breaks his arm and tosses him all around the office. Vincent is barely alive when Chappie says he forgives him and leaves. Soon the police surround the building and start working on getting the door open. Chappie takes a dying Dion to the lab and connects him to the helmet, successfully uploading him into a robot body. Dion wants to return the favor, so he runs to Vincent's computer and uses the key to reactivate all the scouts. Then he sends Chappie's consciousness to a new body through the internet. At that moment, the police breaks in, so Dion runs outside and is delighted to find Chappie in a new scout body. Then the duo returns to the base, and together with Ninja, they give Yolandi a proper burial. While the news announced that all robot cops have been banned and humans are back on the force, Chappie finds the USB stick with the helmet test he did on Yolandi. He hacks into the factory machines and makes them build a pretty female robot to upload Yolandi's consciousness into it. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.